Today's episode is sponsored by our friends at Famous Faces and Funnies. Hey, why don't you tap into the Florida market and check out their Whatnot app as well as their Facebook Live auctions, as well as our friends at PGX Comics, the Gen X place to get your comics graded and in case, shipping nationwide. Alrighty, welcome to another exciting episode of Codename New to Vero 2, the Gen X for Gen X channel. And today I thought we'd do something a little bit different. I'm actually currently working on not only comic book recaps, but another submission to our grading friends over at PGX Grading Services. So a lot of people have been writing to me like, how do you go about selecting the books to send over? Well, folks, this is what it looks like. Pull out several long boxes and short boxes and another short box, and then we select probably about 4 or 5 in each shipment. Like I send 2 shipments a month to our friends at PGX for our unboxing video. Now, as I was going through that, I stumbled upon this issue of Wizard magazine. Now, a lot of us, around this time were probably either in high school or starting off in college. We were young adults, and Wizard magazine was just as important to us as anything that came out. I mean, going to the comic shop to pick up Wizard magazine was just as important as picking up all your comic books at the same time. And one of the reasons, I picked this issue in particular, and we featured it during our pickup episode several months back, is because it features Jim Balent's artwork. Now, my regulars can attest, we've often talked about Jim Balent, who's a friend of our channel. Him and Holly have been wonderful to me, and they're just full of positive vibes and just really good people. And I've always said that Jim should have been included along with the greats in the 90s like Todd Mcfarlane, Jim Lee, Rob Leifield. All of those iconic figures, they're rock stars now. Jim rightfully should be amongst those guys. It's just the fact that he marched to his own drum, and he wasn't a yes man to the corporation, which kind of fueled him to go off and do his own thing. But as an asterisk note, Jim Balent should have been one of those rock star artists that came from the 90s. To this day, his Catwoman is the definitive Catwoman that all of us in pop culture picture in our heads when we close our eyes. And like I said, this issue is kind of why I targeted this. It's just the artwork itself, just a perfect textbook Catwoman in all of her glory. And of course, you have a little bit of Jim's, what he's known for. And of course, he currently is on his own publication known as Tarot Witch of the Black Rose. And I actually really enjoy these magic, sorcery, all that stuff, beautiful artwork. It is one of my guilty pleasures and part of my monthly pickups for the past several years. I have not missed an issue of Tarot, and to support my friend Jim Balent. Now, like I said, Wizard was so important to all of us because it had all the news. We read it from cover to cover. I thought it'd be fun just to go through an issue of Wizard magazine to reminisce the contents that it. Now, this particular one comes right the month following Jack Kirby's passing. So this is a significant issue of Wizard magazines, not just the artwork, but what's inside. It is filled with tributes to Jack the King Kirby. So the artwork in these issues, in this magazine, is just as important as the ones in our favorite comic books. It is that breathtaking. So this is the full of advertisements of games, comic books, things that now you could find on the internet with the click of the mouse. But you know what? Touching the paper, that feeling you get, that's what this channel is all about. Reconnecting to a more simpler times. The chaos effect. What's that all about? Valiant. Well, we all know the history. It's funny going through this and looking in retrospective. Like Valiant, um, known for all of their wrestling and their video game um, comics, and now that's trending. Valiants are very highly sought out, as my regulars know. With the Super Mario first appearance, I have, and also the Game Boy issue #2. I mean, those things are really, really expensive. Here's our table of content. We get letters, XMen. Remember, this is the height. We're going through XMen 97 right now on Disney Plus. This was the height of XMen, and here is in memorial for Jack the King Kirby. Wow. And just looking at all of the condolences. I mean, Neil Adams is no longer with us. Mark Bagley's here. John Byrne. Gosh, all of these people writing tributes to Jack the King Kirby. That's why, besides the artwork, is why I targeted this. This is such an important issue. This is going to go off to grading as well. And remember, this isn't considered or going to be graded as a comic book. This is going to be graded as a magazine. So you have to make sure all Wizard magazines are considered magazines for grading. And yeah, so that's really, really important to note. Sending it into PGX will do no good. I have to send it to the enemy, CGC. So here we have the tributes to Jack the King Kirby. Let's see some more names. Peter David, Joe Duffy, Dan Jurgens. Wow. Matt Groening, Simpsons, Eric Larson, Jim Lee, Stan Lee. Wow. Look at these names. Rob Liefeld. I mean, this is a who's who. May 1994. Wow. Just wanted to show you Alan Moore, John Romita Sr., who's no longer with us, Jim Shooter, Mark Silvestri. Gosh, goes on and on. So here we have an advertisement. It looks like Zartan from the Dreadnoks. Cold Sliver. G.I. Joe fans will know what that's all about. Gosh, more tributes, of course. There's going to be a couple pages, but in memorandum, Jack Kirby. Wow. Bartman, the video game. Look at that. So I thought it'd be just fun to go through it. Here's some little news. Image Not Looking Back. Punisher versus Archie. The Space Ghost Talk Show. You gotta be shitting me. Wow. Oh man. You gotta be kidding me. Hulk Smash. X-Men for Sega Game Gear. Wow. And this month in history. This is a good issue #1, just for those who don't know. It's a pretty penny as far as the grading. If you get like a high grade issue #1, you're talking like an easy $500, $600. Boom. For a graded Wizard the Magazine issue #1. NBA Jam. How much fun is that? I mean, I still have it. Which console did you prefer, the Genesis or the Super Nintendo version of this game? Here we go. This is our cover story of Jim Balent. Just look at that Catwoman. Jim is phenomenal. You know, everyone's going after Dave Stevens. He's been trending lately because of the documentary regarding artist Dave Stevens' life. And I hope that same type of resurgence goes for Jim Balent, because he's falling right behind Dave Stevens as far as his artwork. Look at that. That's a nice Catwoman too. I mean, his lines and stuff for drawing, you know, girls is absolutely astonishing. And there has to be some sense of fantasy besides. It's supposed to be fun. It's not politics. It's not supposed to make a statement. And look at that. Dave Cockrum. That's kind of, I gotta read this. With XMen 97, this is definitely an article to read. This issue actually is trending too. That's funny. Alrighty, so as we continue on, it's just funny seeing like, all right, Vengeance of Vampirella. That's still going on, and it just seems like I have multiple Vengeance of Vampirellas number threes or what have you. And here's their drawing contest, or you know, people get to submit. It's just kind of cool seeing how much the '90s guys, the Liefelds, especially Rob Liefeld, like just impacted what these kids were doing. As far as artist wise, again, it's a nice Batman. It's just cool flipping through this and just, you know, instantly transporting to a simpler times. The Marvel trading cards, she's my flair. You know, I talk about graded magazines, and my brother is more into graded cards than me. I mean, he inherited all my graded my cards, baseball, football cards, and how crazy that market is. I mean, it just dwarfs comic graded comic books by like, you know, 5 to 1 almost. Mark Silvestri's codename Strike Force. It's just, again, that's such a Rob Liefeld type of, you know, '90s bullshit, like big arms, more guns, and not even in not realistic guns, be it at that, you know. Again, X-Men 97. Um, what a huge hit. These are the ToyBiz toys that came out. You know, I would think that those um, mint on card would be more valuable than what they were. But then again, like everything in the '90s was overproduced. What, be it comics, be it toys, what have you. Like case in point, Episode 1 of Star Wars. I mean, they still are worth diddly squat even after all these years. I mean, we're celebrating the 30th anniversary of Episode 1 this weekend, and it's just shocking how. Yeah, there we go. In memorandum for Jack Kirby. Yeah, the thing is, when I targeted this specific, ooh, look at that. The Critic, remember that? John Lovitz, kind of like from the writers of The Simpsons. I never really got into this show, but I heard it's a hidden gem. It's really good once you're able to get in or find it, number one. By the way, going back to this, like I said, I initially was only targeting for the Jim Balent artwork, but then it was like, wow, that's right. Jack Kirby died a month before this came out, so it's a good. This is a good book to get graded, or magazine to get graded. Advanced Comics, a lot of independents popping up and folding during this time. Even it's also interesting how when you pick up a current magazine, how little is packed. Like when this book is filled to the brim. I mean, this is hours upon hours of entertainment value in this. Where like you pick up any magazine today, you just get the meat and potatoes of it. Yeah. The here's the real second reason why I picked this. This was a the upcoming toy fair report. So besides the Jim Balent and Jack Kirby, which I didn't discover until afterwards, this is another reason why I targeted, especially because this is the last year of GI Joe. This is 1994 was the last year of a Real American Hero line, but you could see in the toy world ToyBiz has a freaking monopoly with the Spider-Man animated series, with X-Men the animated series, and people don't realize there was an Iron Man, Fantastic Four, Hulk, and Silver Surfer that were also released during this time. They didn't get the big spots as X-Men and Spider-Man did, but they sure were offered. Cyberforce is back. Does that scream 90s or what? Look at the toys. Here we go, Hasbro. Shadow Warriors, Shadow Force. The same mold, but they just use that translucent plastic. So even for you non-GI Joe guys, I've noticed a lot of you are really interested in these gimmicks that GI Joe had in the 90s. So whatever gets you in the doorway to amazing fandom that is GI Joe, I definitely encourage that. Black Cat 104. Here's some of the news about releases coming out. And the Wizard Price Guide. Wow. So for you that are stumbling upon this, younger guys, I mean, I'm talking about 35 years and younger. We didn't have Go Collect or all these amazing apps that instantaneously tells you what your comic books are worth. So you had to look it up, see Marvel masterpieces, which are often reprints of iconic. Let's go look at something relevant. Oh, these are the cards. So these are the cards. I'm sorry. So these are the Marvel cards. But that's cool. I forgot that they offered like superhero or comic related card price guide as well as the actual comic book price guide. Like you see some of these prices, Deathmate, Valiant. The full set is $11, unopened box $20. I wonder what their equivalent is now. I'm sure Elvis was always popular. Of course, I was thinking about picking up the Elvira cards. Adding that to my Elvira collection. Oh, that's pretty cool. Count the Kitties. So the cover art had a little puzzle within a puzzle, and that was counting all the black cats that accompany Catwoman. And then you would have to guess the number and send it in. Physically send it in. I mean, the internet was around. We had AOL. Since my dad worked for AT&T. And this was cool. Top 10 countdowns for villains of the month. Isn't that a cool thing? Spawn. Is Spawn a villain? Heroes and villains. Oh, there you go. Sorry. So this is both. Pitt, remember that series. Look at that. Wolverine was number 5. Superman at number 9. Of course, Spawn would be number 1. Comic Watch. This is the spec. Again, go collect, Comic Tom, Cover Price. These are Instagram / YouTube channels that basically key collectors that does this for us instantaneously. And we have the picks of the month. So here we go. Secret Weapons 11, Incredible Hulk 418, Peter David. When is Peter David not part of Hulk? That's the more interesting. Look at that, Dan Jurgens. Wow. Just seeing the names is kind of cool. Batman. So Detective Comics. This is all after Batman had his back broken in Nightfall, and as Azrael, whatever was filling in for him at the time. That's definitely Jim Balent was working on the Catwoman series and occasionally crossing over to the Batman series as well. Like I said, I mean, go back and check out Jim Balent's artwork in the 90s. And you tell me why. I mean, we all know why, but it's just like his work speaks for itself. He really belongs with the Uncanny X-Men 313. Just reading what it was about. Then X-Men 33. Jim Lee had long left the X-Men. I forgot about that. Wildcats number 10. Look at that. Chris Claremont joins Jim Lee for a 3-issue story. And, he abruptly left after X-Men number 3. He got sick and tired of all of the instability going on at Marvel during the time. And what's funny about that is a couple months back, for the first time, Todd Mcfarlane and DC Comics did the second Batman and Spawn crossover. Look at that. You have the little posters. I'm glad this one includes all of that. That's another thing that's tough about getting Wizard magazines graded, is there's always like little knickknacks that are always included in these issues. So getting one and getting a high grade. Top 10 of April. Wow, here we go. Oops, sorry about that. And we just did, second time I picked up this issue, Beavis and Butthead number 1. We talked about the variant of the glove. There's a red glove, then there's the more commonly known pink glove, but the red glove is the rare, more expensive one to get. Lady Death, we feature her during our monthly pickup episodes and still going on strong. X-Men, wow, number 30. The Cyclops Jean Grey wedding. Wow. And it's all relevant. And look at this. We just saw this in X-Men 97. Magneto taking out Wolverine's adamantium. Just featured that. Isn't that crazy? Moon Knight. Gen 13. That's... I think Gen 13 just is a 90s book. Wizard Market Watch. There's some announcing some Comic Cons coming up. And again, this was also during the time where Comic Cons were actually about comics and not, cosplaying girls wearing next to nothing and saying, I'm doing it not to get attention. Look at that. Top 10 hottest artists, top 10 hottest writers. Isn't this hilarious? Look at that. Well, I don't know why Jim Shooter is there. He looks crazy in this picture. Look at that. Doesn't he look like he has something up his ass? Frank Miller, Sensei, Peter David, Jim Lee. I mean, again, see, case in point, Balent should have been included in this list. Never miss an issue. Subscription service to Wizard Magazine. Here we go. This is the most important section in this magazine. Like I was talking about it a minute ago. This is what we used for trades, for selling comic books. This was the issue section that was a must. Now here's some fun stuff. Let's go. Amazing Spider-Man. I just wanted to show you the prices. Where are we? All right, Amazing Spider-Man. Look at that. Issue number 1 that I have sitting in my living room was $11,500 raw. Remember, these are not graded. These are raw copies. First appearance of Mysterio, Dr. Octopus, Dr. Doom Fantastic Four, issue number 5. That is probably going to skyrocket. Look at that. Gwen Stacy, Harry Osborn's first appearance, 120. I will buy that in a heartbeat today. That's amazing. And what I want to show you this is that you have... Here we go. So $2.99, which most of us back then thought was Venom's first appearance. Then $300 comes and $66. That's crazy. Then Todd McFarlane's first Spider-Man is $2.98, $36 raw. I mean, again, these are prices that you have to count inflation too. So, but still, even with inflation factored in, this will probably be equivalent to, what was that? There we go. So $66, and I would say, so basically the equivalent of this now is $150, give or take. But yeah, that's $150. It's not bad. This is, of course, the first appearance of Beavis and Butthead. I wonder if they list the variant too. Beavis and Butthead. So even the variant weren't included yet or discovered yet. That the pressing or the distributor Diamond, I think, did it. Had 2 versions coming out. So it's funny, like how when you look at this, oh wow, Captain America. Essentially, this is the origin story and everything. Captain America 100. Where is that at? Here we go. $300. $300. Wow. I mean, again, raw prices, maybe you get it like 800. You're looking at close to 1,000. Classic X-Men. I always thought that the reprints, like a lot of people ask me, hey, is it good to get second appearances? I'm all about it, guys. For the most value and bang for your buck. If the first appearance of very popular character, like we did with Ghost Rider, Marvel Spotlight #6 isn't very, very below, especially now with the market the way it is. It's such a good buy-in. Oh, here we go. Wolverine and Daredevil's first together, working together. So like I was saying, even those early 60s reprints, like we have the I think Golden Records that they did for Amazing Spider-Man #1 and Fantastic Four issue #1. It came with a little vinyl record, as well as the comic book. Those things are very, very, attractive as a consolation prize for not getting it. I mean, they were printed just like I was doing when we look at facsimiles. They were verbatim, page for page reproductions, and I think they're excellent. They're excellent as to have as a fan, a real fan, as also they're excellent gift ideas. I mean, the fact that, I've given a lot of this is a current book that's trending. Fantastic Four #49, the trilogy of the Galactus' introduction. This is been something to jump on. I've been telling people for a year that, hey, look into those Galactus issues. Fantastic Four. I know I'm going slow, but here's another one trending. See, these books, these types of books will never ever go out of style. And of course, me with my G.I. Joes. Look at that. Here we go, G.I. Joe. Right in front of my face. But issue number 21. That's not right. Wow. So the silent issue was worth only $3? That's crazy. What if it's a real, yeah. Yep, that's a Marvel one. So then we have the whole Generation 2, around 140. Autobots at 142. Mega Marines, Star Brigade. See, like I tell my G.I. Joe fans, my regulars, those books from about right here, 137 down to 155, were, low print runs. And with 154 not even being written by Larry Hama, it was a guest writer at that time, because he was already getting ready for Wolverine. People don't know about that. And the other thing, it's tough to find wizards without highlights and notes written by the kids who owned this previously. To get this one in this condition is a huge, huge deal. Yeah. Anyway, well, there you go. I was really into Batman during this time. I mean, Batman and every now and then ASM as well. For my, would ride my bicycle. Well, no, 1994. No, I still was. I'll hitch a ride with someone that because I was a junior or sophomore, so I would hitch a ride with somebody and we'd go to the comic shop in between football, wrestling, or track practice. Because I was one of the rare jocks that was also a nerd at the same time. So it's like I had, oh, there's a frog door. So I had one foot in the athletic world and athletic friends, and then I had one with the now quote unquote the nerds. Look at that. And then here in the back is all the shows and conventions that people would look up. Again, internet was just in its infancy, so just this was so like, oh, there's one coming to Philadelphia. Oh, I see the date, so you would mark that down and write it on your little uh, date book or oh, this needs to be. This is not good. See that? So CGC Sports Illustrated will have to clean and press that because that definitely is. And then of course the preview of issue number 34. Wow. So this summer, with summer kicking off with Memorial Day, I thought this would be kind of a fun trip down memory lane. Anyway, this is Shabu Are You.